Kevin Smith.
Yes.
Why did you feel compelled to write a second autobiography? You have so many things going on. I assume there's more to come.
One would imagine, God, one would hope. But my philosophy is this: by the time I'm old enough to sit down and start writing the memoirs, all the juicy details will have fallen away. Everything will have a golden hue about it and whatnot. And it feels more honest to do it kind of in the moment. So a few years ago, I was blogging my daily life online, and they turned that into a book called My Boring Ass Life. And then this is a book that was like created as a book. It's called Tough, can you say boring?
You can say it.
Shit, Tough Shit it's called. On the radio and TV,
I can't say it.
I have to say Tough Smith. So we cover it as a euphemism. But Tough Shit is a book that kind of encapsulates the last 5 years of my life. It kind of talks about me opting out of filmmaking and heading toward something different, which was talking more, podcasting. Suddenly podcasting became like a bigger passion than making films, which is weird because when you make films, getting paid to make pretend on any level is amazing, but the filmmaking business, like crack of entertainment, maybe heroin. You know, TV might be crack because there's so much of it. Heroin, perhaps, because boy, you get used to getting this wonderful sensation of somebody's going to pay me money to make pretend, like something I would do for free anyway. Oh my God. So you get fat with that kind of thing over time. And then the problem is, and you see it with a lot of filmmakers, and not like I can name you 10, but it just happens in general. You lose your edge. Your edge gets a little bit dull because, you know, you don't have to struggle for it anymore. You don't have to, like, man, I hope this works. I went from a world of like, oh my God, if I don't make this movie, I'll just die, to a world of like, oh my God, if I don't make this movie, I'll make another movie because that's what they pay me to do now. Went from being a passion and my art form to being a job. And that's never healthy for your business if so much of your business is tied up in the personal.
Well, the person who helped you make that first movie is Harvey Weinstein. And in the book, you talk about your evolving relationship with Harvey Weinstein.
Yes.
Where is it now, and where is the genius behind Harvey Weinstein? Because you're a creator of content. He's just the guy who moves it around.
Yeah, but there's always something to be said for the person that knows how to harness raw talent. Like, you know, there are so many people that are patrons of the arts in ways that are more commercial. We'll give you a bunch of money, make this kind of movie. And they tend to sheep it up and make the same movie over and over and over again. I'm a huge comic book fan, but we're in an era of the comic book movie that has replaced the Western in as much as throw a rock and you're gonna hit one. So it's finding specialized content, finding individualized content, or finding something special, giving space to something that might not find purchase in the marketplace, in a larger marketplace, is a rare talent. And he had an eye, and he still does, an incredible eye. Like, he's like some people say, like, what did Steve Jobs do? He didn't build it himself. Well, back in the day, he actually did put stuff together, but also it takes somebody to go like, all right, let's take something that nobody thinks about, try it over here. Let's expand, let's make a dent in the universe. And Harvey Weinstein, whether you love him or hate him, or his personality, or who he is, or whether, you know, he's too larger than life, or like he's a scoundrel, the man changed art. He changed film forever from that point.
And one of the things in the book that you discuss is what happened when Miramax was taken over by Disney. Now, Disney recently came out with John Carter, which was a big flop. It's going to hit their earnings. What do you make of the studio system now? Are we going to see less John Carters? Or you also have the Hunger Games, which is going to be another blockbuster. So where's the studio system going?
I think, well, the Hunger Games is one of those things that's kind of like a Twilight, where, you know, the smart money or that's paying attention to, rather than buying a massive franchise, they bought a little book series that like then lit a fire and took off and had become like a standard in schools. My kid had to read the Hunger Games. So then when they step into the marketplace, they're like, hey man, look, it's Katniss Everdeen and all her friends, live action. Of course it's gonna sell. When you do something like John Carter, I mean, again, it's always hindsight's 20/20, but as a genre fan, as a geek fan, even I was just like, really, John Carter? Like, you better make it low, make it cheap. Because kids don't remember that anymore. And some people go like, oh, you can reimagine it for a new world, like what's his name? Johnny Depp is in the new Lone Ranger that Gore Verbinski's making right now. But when you're spending $250 million to tell the story, then you got to spend at least another 100 to sell the story in marketing. 350, man, and when you see a box office figure, if it said they made 350 million, you know they don't get all that money. They get like half of that money, so it becomes a tougher struggle. Will they make more of those? The studio business has no choice but to make bigger and more massive tentpole movies, man. All they need is like maybe 6, 8 of those movies a year, and that covers. They got into specialized film for a little bit, and had boutiques and whatnot, like Miramax. Disney owned Miramax and whatnot, so forth and so on. But they got out of that business. Like Disney sold Miramax and bought Marvel. They're like, specialized film is cute and you can win awards, ain't no money. There's money in comic books.
This market is
stock pickers market.
Stocks have rallied this year.
We're coming into a Monday where we're going to